Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan Anderson. I'm a certified mind body practitioner specialized in the recovery of chronic dizziness symptoms. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to this lovely young woman who is not a personal client of mine, but she has been through the recovery journey herself, and she is voluntarily sharing her story with all of you in the hopes that she can inspire you to know that you are not broken and that you are not stuck and that your body can absolutely recover from chronic dizziness. So let's get into it. Rachel, thank you so much for being here on the channel. I'm so excited to talk about your story today.
Thank you for having me. It's really nice to see
Why?
you.
Yeah, you too. And so we haven't worked together before, obviously. But I'm super excited to hear all about your story. So would you mind telling everyone a little bit about yourself before all of this happened? Like who you are, where you're from, your age maybe, and what you do for a living?
So I'm Rachel. I live in Germany, and right now I'm 29. I will be 30 in a couple of weeks, which is super exciting, but also a little bit scary. And yeah, 5 years ago, wait, was it 5 years ago? No, 6 years ago. I was pregnant with my first child, and before getting pregnant, I was very, very out there. I did literally everything. I loved traveling and going to festivals or concerts. Like that was my happy place. I went to the movies very often, and yeah, then everything just
Mm.
changed with the dizziness. But before that, I do have to say that I had a couple years with migraines, like really bad migraines. So I was used to like brain fog sometimes and stuff like that.
Mm.
But like it was nothing that ibuprofen couldn't fix or some massages or something like that. And when I was, I think, 8 or 9 months pregnant with my first child. That was when the first wave of dizziness hit me. And
Mm.
after I gave birth, I lost a lot of blood. Um, I don't really know why it happened, but something was tearing like inside. I don't know, something
Wow.
around my ovaries or something. I'm not really sure what it exactly was, but I lost a lot of blood. And I found out after that I would have needed like an IV with blood or what's it called?
Transfusion?
Yeah, exactly. I would have needed a blood transfusion, but they didn't give that to me. And because of that huge loss of blood that I had,
Hmm.
the migraines came back. And then with my blood levels being like super like low, my iron levels being super low, then that was when I started to like experience more and more dizziness. So yeah, that was the beginning pretty much. I remember talking to my dad and I was like, I kind of feel like I am stuck in a roller coaster that like drives and then stops, and then you have like this feeling of not really stopping, but like being in
Hmm.
between. You know what I mean?
Yep, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah. And
Yep.
it's a super weird feeling, like not quite right. And yeah, that was when I started kind of focusing on that. And I would like double check all the time in my body, like, am I feeling these weird sensations or not? And you know, for me, Christmas and New Year's is like a really difficult time, like mental health wise. And I remember when we stayed for New Year's Eve, we stayed with friends, and on New Year's Day, we went out to find some snow for like the babies to play in and stuff like that. And that was when I had like I think it was less than a second that I had room spinning dizziness, like for less than a second. Little, I don't even know if it really was there or if I made it up. I have no idea. But that was when I got a panic attack, and then it just went downhill from there, pretty much. So
Mm. So
yeah,
what year was this? Like when did
that
you?
was that was the 1st of January in 2021.
That was 2021. Okay. Okay, so when did you give birth? When did you start having all of those sensations then?
in July 2020. Like, so I think the sensation started in like June 2020, and then it got like it was like progressively getting worse, kind of. It
Mhm.
was not it was not constant at that time, but from the 1st of January 2021, it was constant. Like it never, it
Yeah.
just didn't stop. Like
Yeah, after the panic attack.
yeah, after that panic attack and after me like I said before, and when I first experienced that weird feeling, the roller coaster feeling, that
Hmm.
was when I always double checked and stuff like that. And after I had that panic attack on New Year's Day,
Hmm.
I literally didn't, I never stopped checking. Like that was the only thing I focused on, you know, like day in, day out. That was,
Yeah.
and yeah, that
Yeah.
was the beginning. Yeah, pretty much.
I I hear you. And it's interesting that it began with low iron levels.
Yeah,
That was one of the problems anyway. I have seen that before actually.
yeah.
Did you ever get that sorted? Did you ever fix your iron levels? Did they actually give you a blood transfusion at any point? Oh no.
They didn't. They didn't. I took iron tablets
Yeah.
and then it got better with the iron levels, but not with my condition. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you mind telling us? We won't go too deeply into the symptoms
Yeah.
because I know that can be quite triggering for people and for you possibly. So, can you just tell me briefly what the symptoms were like on a day-to-day basis? Like, were
Yeah.
you able to work still, or was it just you were out?
Well, I didn't work because I had my baby, and in
Hmm.
Germany you get like 3 years off, pretty
Wow,
much.
that's
Well,
amazing.
you can get up to 3 years off. It's just for me, it was just 1 year that I got paid something, and then the other years
Okay.
I didn't. I had to like do something else. But so I didn't work at all, and it was I couldn't have worked, not at that time, I don't think, because so my symptoms were in the beginning more of like I was like moving all the time just to like I don't know this
Yeah.
have this better feeling of my body because I was moving inside all the time, so I tried to like you know even it out with like moving on the outside as well. um I didn't get too much spinning dizziness, but like sometimes in my head, then I got like weird visual things, like if I would look at something, I had the feeling that it was moving or something like that. I mean, obviously, I'm wearing glasses. I do
Mhm.
not have pretty good eyesight or really bad eyesight, but still, that was something I was focusing on a lot. And in the beginning, I also had lots of panic, and I was so scared of like every single second of the day. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't listen to the radio. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't read. I couldn't be on my phone. It was just, I would just lay there and stare at the ceiling. And you don't have to forget that I had this newborn baby. That
Yeah.
was like the worst thing, or that is the worst thing about everything, because the first couple of years with my eldest daughter are like kind of like a blur for me, you know. Then the boat feeling, the rocking, like in a rocking, I said that before,
Mhm.
like swaying. I read this book called what was it called? Rock Steady.
Oh
And
yeah.
they described it as NQR, not quite right. And I thought that was like the perfect thing. Like I also had like this pressure in my head. Like I was just hyper aware of every single process in my head, if that makes sense. Like every
Yeah.
single motion, every single feeling, you know, it was just I was just so like focused on myself, on the things that
Yeah.
were happening inside of my body, that everything else just didn't make sense anymore. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
news or something like that, talking to friends, talking to people, talking to my husband. It was nothing. I felt like nothing made sense. And I came to that one point where I had depersonalization really bad. And that's when you feel like you or the world around you is not really there or real. And that was really scary because
Yeah.
it took like the sense out of everything pretty much, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. I really do.
Yeah.
And I know that the people listening to this will understand very deeply what you're talking about because they
Yeah.
have all been there for sure.
And I felt
Um,
so alone in this. Like, that's just something you don't really want to talk about,
mm,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, the emotional side of things is it's so I feel like it's so much sometimes so much bigger than the actual symptoms. The symptoms
Yeah.
themselves are horrible, but also this
Yeah.
emotional side of things where we just feel like
Yeah.
you're going crazy or you're the only one dealing with this. Did you feel like that as well?
All the time. All the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I would look at people and I remember watching movies and
Yeah.
I like, you know what I mean, right? I would
Yep.
watch a movie and look at these people. I mean, they are actors, that's not real. But for me, it felt like I could never be that person. I could never be that person preparing lunch. I could never be that person going to a honeymoon on the Maldives or something like that. Or I can never go watch a movie again. Like that was okay. That was another symptom I was dealing with. Like I told you before, I loved going to the movies.
Mm,
I could not sit in the cinema anymore. I would sit there, pitch black room in front of me, the big the movie playing, and I would feel this.
mm,
Like I could not go to the movies anymore. It was so terrible.
mm,
And that's why I also said, okay, I cannot go to a concert anymore. Like, what if it triggers everything even more? What if there's not enough air? What if I collapse? What if my whole system just shuts down at this point?
mm.
And what if there's no way out for me?
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah. I hear you. I really do. And that's a really scary place to be. And I feel like that fear of the symptoms themselves makes
Yeah.
everything even worse.
Yeah. It's
Did
like a
you,
cycle.
yes, were you a particularly anxious person before you got
Yeah.
these symptoms? Yeah.
I do have a generalized anxiety disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So that I was diagnosed with that in 2017, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I went to therapy in 2014, starting 2014, I think. Yeah.
All
So
right. Yeah.
so I didn't go there a lot because I didn't like my therapist. Like I didn't feel comfortable with her. So that's why I stopped going. And at some point she wanted me to go to like this, what's it called? Not a rehab, but something kind of like that. What's it called?
Yeah.
Like a mental
Um,
hospital kind of thing.
yeah.
It was like, okay, if she can't deal with my problems and wants to send me to like a psych ward pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
this is not going to happen. I don't want to go there. I don't want to be with people dealing with even worse things, spiraling me even more. I want to be with people who lift me up.
Yes.
Pull
I
me down.
love that mindset. I really do. Um, yeah. So do you think that the anxiety played a role in these symptoms
Yeah. Yeah.
coming?
If you're, I mean, I was scared of dizziness for like 24/7. So of course, if I felt dizziness, I would get more anxious. And if I got more anxious, I would get more dizziness. Like it was this cycle. And at some point, I was aware of that because I remember we moved apartments in May or April. In April 2021, we moved apartments. The one before was like, it was terrible. Like our neighbors, they were disgusting. I remember we had this in the cellar, we had our washing machines. And these people, they had like a lot of kids. And I remember taking my laundry downstairs to wash it. And their washing machine was like right next to ours. And there was baby clothes in there and also cigarettes. Like somebody probably forgot their cigarettes in their pants or something, and it
Oh
was
no.
mixed up. Like that's the kind of people we were living in this apartment
Mm-hmm.
building with. Like it was really, really bad. And I think that was probably one of the reasons why I got into like that and that like depressive cycle. And when we moved apartments, and I started like doing all the interior stuff and planning and everything. I felt better. And that's when I realized that this might not be that deadly disease I was thinking it could maybe be, you know. And yeah, when we moved into that apartment where we had lots of space, we had like the most amazing neighbors. We just moved again like 2 weeks ago. And now we're in our own house. But like that was a good thing, you know. And then I remember when we got married in May 2021. And after that, we went to honeymoon in Mallorca. And when we were traveling again, I still felt the dizziness. It was still there, but it was manageable. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like I knew that once I focused more on everything, it will get worse. And like times when we were like fighting or when there was a lot of stress, my symptoms would like skyrocket, you know? And
Yeah.
like calm down again. It would also be better with the symptoms, but still like the first 2.5 years were like, especially 2021 was really, really bad. Although we did travel a lot. Like when we were traveling, I felt good most of the time, but not always. But once we were back, like at home and everything, I knew it would get worse. So that's why we wanted to
Mm.
go travel again. But with Corona and like COVID being there, traveling was like
Yeah.
tough, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
like a baby as well.
For
So
sure.
yeah, yeah,
That's really interesting that it got a little bit better when you were positively distracted
yeah,
with traveling. And that's
yeah,
that's a very common thing that I see with my clients actually a lot.
yeah,
Sometimes it even gets better when they are negatively distracted, like when something bad
yeah,
happens in their
yeah,
life.
absolutely.
It also takes them out, and that is proof right there that this is your brain and this is your nervous system
Yeah,
creating these sensations to keep you safe in some way.
yeah.
And we're definitely going to talk more about that. But first of all, do you remember what it was like getting a diagnosis? Did you actually get a medical diagnosis for this? Did you have lots of testing done?
I did not have lots of testing done. So I went to my primary health doctor, and he did blood work. He did diagnose me with GHD a couple years back, you know. So he did know about that, and he
Mm-hmm.
knew I was. So I have really, really bad. I'm a very, very bad hypochondriac, like to the
Mm-hmm.
point where I feel the symptoms, you know,
Yeah.
really, really bad. And he knew that about me as well.
Yeah.
So he did blood work and all that kind of stuff, and everything came back good. He checked my thyroid, and everything was great, was all fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to, I think he told me to see a chiropractor. So I went to that one, and she did all these things, and then she asked me to come to her office because she was like, I really want to speak to you because I think that maybe I can give you something on the way to like help you with all of this. And she told me, you're a new mom, you're experiencing all these things, then there's COVID, and there's so much stress in your life, and you have dealt with anxiety and all that before. So maybe that's the root to all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, if you're a hypochondriac, you fear the worst. That's what
Yeah.
I did. And I never wanted to actually experience all these like CT and stuff like that. I never wanted to experience that because I knew if I had to wait for a long time to like get that done, to like, you know, have the appointment, I
Mm-hmm.
would spiral even worse. And then, you know, the waiting and everything. Plus, one thing I forgot to say is when I got pregnant, on the same day I got my positive pregnancy test, my sister, who was at that time 26, got a breast cancer diagnosis. So,
Wow.
yeah. So my parents were like in between these things. One of the daughters is gonna have a baby, the other one has breast cancer. Like it
Wow.
was so bad. This was such a terrible time. And that was all happening before I started, you know? That's what I told the chiropractor as well. And she said there's so much going on in your life and your brain needs to process all of these things. And maybe you should do this and should do that. I don't really remember everything she said. But yeah, then I went to my dad's doctor as well. I have to say, my parents are from the medical field, so I always get reassurance from them as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the doctors of my dad, he gave me a prescription for Valium back then because he said
Okay.
maybe that's gonna help. Maybe that's gonna take like the what's it
The
called?
edge. The edge
The
off.
yeah, the edge off. And
Yeah.
it was really, really bad. I took like 1 or 2 drops of Valium and like it really did that. But I never took Valium every single day. I just did it
Yeah.
when I couldn't function anymore. And that's
Yeah.
really, yeah, what took the edge off. But then I did a really, really big mistake on a day where the dizziness was deliberating. I started Googling. I mean, that's how I found out about triple PD, but that's how I found the Facebook support group. And that was a really, really big mistake. I do have to say. I mean, I did meet a girl, she's from England, and she's amazing. She's doing amazing. Like she was bedbound. Seriously, she was bedbound. And I also like we messaged and everything, and
Yeah.
like she's now better as well. She just went to a vacation for the first time in years, and I'm so proud of her.
Oh, that's
Like that was
amazing.
the only good thing I got out of the support group was this girl. But it was so terrible reading about these people living with triple PD for like 15 and more years, you know? They were like bedbound for years. And you read that and you're like, I'm never gonna recover. Like I'm never gonna get better. This is my life is over. Like I told my husband all the time, I was like, I feel like my life is taken away from me. I feel like I am trapped inside this body. I would never want to change with anybody else because I have my daughter and I love her so much and I love my family and everything about it. I never would want to change my life, but I don't want to be myself. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh my God, yeah. And I'm almost crying literally listening to you talking about this. I got super emotional just now because I relate to you so much. You have no idea how much I relate to that, honestly. I I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry afterwards. It's just because I get it so much. I really do. And I'm really glad that you found someone who can encourage you on that journey from that
Yeah.
Facebook group. I know that those groups are so depressing because everyone, I mean, bless the people in there. They are terrified of what they're dealing with, and they've never really been told how to recover. They don't have much hope because they've probably had doctors that don't really get it, you know.
Mhm.
And especially for like 15 years ago, there was nothing about triple PD because that wasn't even really a diagnosis at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we can't blame them for being,
Yeah,
let's say, negative, but it's not their fault, you know. Um,
definitely.
but I'm glad that I'm assuming that you got out of that group at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I did get out and then I was at one point I got back in
Okay.
because I
Okay.
needed the reassurance, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
But then I got out and then I
Mm.
found this Instagram profile. Her name is Temrin, I think. She's honestly holistic is her name.
Hmm.
And she had so many posts. She still has on dizziness, on chronic dizziness and anxiety. Like not the triple PD side, but the chronic anxiety side, you know? How that
Yeah.
is, and she has podcast episodes on that, and she even wrote 2 books on like dizziness or and other symptoms and like
Mhm.
anxiety. And that was something that helped me tremendously because on
Mm.
these posts that was better than the Facebook support group because on the posts there were so many people, they were always talking about dizziness, always. And then I saw,
Mm.
oh my God, Rachel, you're not alone in this. Like there's so many people dealing with the exact same thing. And then as I got deeper and deeper into that, I mean, that was a mistake as well. I know that right now, but
No, it's okay.
I did find out that so many women were dealing with chronic dizziness after childbirth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now one of my really close friends, she had a baby 1.5 years ago. And she just told me actually that she's been dealing with dizziness from like moving around and stuff like that. Like she can't even do a circle motion anymore without like feeling completely out of it, you know?
Mm.
And I was like, okay, maybe that really is a common thing for women in general, you know, with like
Yeah.
hormonal imbalance or something like that. But maybe I just did the mistake on focusing so hard, and
Mm.
then it like, one symptom that was so bad that I totally forgot, because when you're asked asked something, you like forget like
Yeah.
about what you want to talk about, and then it just comes back. So I just had that. When I would lie down in bed, it was the worst, the
Mm-hmm.
absolute worst. I felt like I was on a boat. Closing
Mm-hmm.
my eyes, I felt like I was on a roller coaster, or like on a, I don't know,
Yeah.
in the teacups at Disneyland,
Yeah.
like really, really bad. It was
Yeah.
so like I had to have lots of pillows, and then my husband's shoulder, I would like lay it like this, and
Yeah.
he would like take me in his arms and do like this.
Oh my God, that's so
Yeah.
funny because one, it's not funny at all, but it's interesting that you say that because my mom, it's so funny because my mom and I did the exact same thing. We did the same thing. I would have to lean on my mom
Yeah.
anytime I was watching TV or laying down, like I would have to lean on her because her
Yeah.
breathing would make me feel more normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I did that with my mom too when it was really bad. Um, it felt better that way, but like um intimacy or something like that, never worked anymore.
Yeah.
And that was another part that was pretty tough on everything, because like so many aspects of your life were like taken away from you,
Mm.
and yeah, that was like the only personal contact I would allow. So he,
Mm.
he was like I mean, there was one baby, and then I was the other baby pretty much. He was
Oh,
to sleep every single night, and he still sometimes tries that, and I'm like, no, I don't want that anymore, because I don't have it anymore. Like that was really, really terrible. And I had like this little I have like this swing chair, the reading chair, um in our old apartment. I had that one, and I would just sit on this swinging chair all day.
yeah, because it would feel
Yeah,
like
it
you
gave
were
me
normal.
release. Just like, what's really funny is that driving was like the biggest release for me.
Yeah,
Being
me
in the
too.
car, being in a moving car was like the best thing. I felt normal every single time. So whenever we went to visit my parents, which was back then 4.5 hours. Now we live here. Um, I was so happy. I couldn't wait for that long car ride. And once the car stopped, like for example at a traffic light, it would spiral again. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Yeah, I felt the exact same way as well. Yeah, and I just want to quickly ask, I know this has nothing to do with your journey, but it kind of is, how is your sister now? Is she with her cancer diagnosis? Is everything okay now?
She's been cancer free for 5 years, and she's the happiest she's ever been. She lives right by the ocean and rides off into sunset with her white horse. Literally, it's a white horse
Wow.
every single night, or not every single
Thank
night,
God.
every other night. She's super happy. She's healthy, and that's all that counts, really.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Because I bet that, I mean, knowing that you were obviously got your pregnancy and
Yeah.
then she had a cancer diagnosis, that must have been so bittersweet, obviously, in that moment. And all of those emotions coming up, I can't even imagine how difficult that was for your
Yeah.
family to deal with. Um, but I'm glad that I'm glad that she is okay and that you are also okay now because it kind of just proves how resilient the human body is, actually.
Totally. Yeah.
And that even when we go through these horrible things, you can still come out the other side.
You
Um,
know what inspired me a lot as well was how she dealt with all of this. She didn't tell anybody. Like, she's an influencer. Like, she has a pretty big following on Instagram, and nobody knew. Nobody. She would go
Mm.
on with her day-to-day stories. She had a wig, and the wig was like, right, it was exactly like her natural hair. And she would not talk about that. Just when she recovered, when she was healthy again, she made her journey public. But
Wow.
before, nobody knew. Like, everybody was commenting, they were like, what? Would have never known. She went outside every single day with her dog. She always told me, I am not sick. She
I
was like,
love that.
I just don't have hair. I'm not sick. I do not feel sick. Like, she did feel sick when she had this really strong chemo,
Mm.
always knocked her out for like 2 days. But she was such an inspiration. You have no idea. She never cried. She took everything like a champ. She was like, oh, and she was like, I will have silicone boobs now. That's okay. I will have pretty boobs.
My goodness. Wow. What a rock
She is,
star she is. Oh my
she is
goodness.
she is the most amazing person in this world, believe me. She
That's
is
incredible. And
she
another testament to how powerful mindset can be.
yeah, yeah, she is amazing. Really.
Wow.
I couldn't even be half as strong as she is. She's just amazing.
No, I mean, you're amazing as well. Both of you are incredible. What a power family that you are.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I'm glad that we talked about that. Now, were there any kind of moments where you felt no symptoms, or was it kind of just always there?
Mm, that's pretty hard to say right now. I do remember, I think when I was in the water, like in the ocean, I felt like totally at ease. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, there were days where I didn't feel the dizziness at all, and it was usually when we were visiting my parents. It's crazy. Like, whenever we went back home to my hometown, spending time with my parents, like sitting there in the morning, having breakfast, and just like doing things. And that really made a lot of things better. Yeah, and not even only being with my parents, but another thing that I have to add to my journey, when like I said, we lived 4.5 hours away, and I did love the city and like living in the city because this is like the absolute countryside. Um, but I was alone. Like, I was completely alone. I was completely dependent on my husband at that time because we just had this one car and he used that for work. So I would be stuck in the apartment for months and months and months with my baby
Yeah.
without, like I said, COVID and everything. But even after COVID, it was pretty much the same. Like,
Mm.
I was alone all the time. I spoke to my mom every single day on the phone, but like, there were no friends really. I mean, I did have friends and I did have people that I knew, but I felt like becoming a mom just changed so much about myself, that it changed so much like about my environment as well, and about the people that I wanted to spend time with and the people I didn't want to spend time with. And yeah, I was lonely. I was very, very lonely. And the only people I really spoke to or saw were my husband and my daughter, and she couldn't speak.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I was alone inside of my head all the time. And when
Mm.
we visited my family, I was somebody, you know what I mean? Like, people knew me if I went to the grocery store, if I went to visit my parents at their work, like, everybody knew who I was, everybody wanted to talk to me. And when I was occupied like that, I always told my dad that when I spoke to someone, like someone else, not my husband or my daughter or my mom or my dad, like somebody else, or even like having fun with other people, that just kept me occupied so much that I stopped focusing on my symptoms, and they weren't there and I didn't check for them. And once that situation was over, everything was back pretty much.
Yeah,
So
that is so
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Mm.
And I remember in 2022, in October, I was so good at managing my symptoms at that time because I did find friends, because my daughter started going to kindergarten, and then I finally had some people around me. And I I did feel the dizziness all the time, but I could totally like live with it, because at some point my dad told me, he was like, maybe you just have to learn to live with it.
Mm.
Maybe you just have to accept and live with it. And I was like, I'm never going to accept this, but I will try and like live with this and not take everything away from me just because I feel this way.
Yeah,
So
that's powerful. Very powerful.
yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna book something I would have never done like a year ago. And so we actually booked a cruise.
Wow. Wow.
So I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're definitely gonna do this. I want to experience this. And while it was like the first 2 days, you couldn't feel anything on the ocean. And then I remember we had this sea day, and at night it got really, really bad. Like we would watch an ABBA show and we would go like this on this
Oh my
huge
God.
ship. And I thought, okay, no, on like a huge ship, you don't feel this. Okay, yeah, you do. And the difference between like a big ship and a small ship is like on the small one, you feel it on the outside. But if you are on this big cruise ship, you feel it in your head. You
Oh
feel
God.
you feel the rocking and the swaying from the movement of the ocean. You feel it in your head. And that was
Yeah.
exactly the feeling that my dizziness
Yeah. Yeah.
had.
So what year was this when you went on the cruise then?
That was 2022.
Okay. So
Yeah.
2022, you were feeling like, okay,
But it was, I think, October or November, the
okay.
cruise.
Okay.
So I did feel better, but
Yeah.
like I remember that was triggering pretty much. Yeah, that was really triggering. But then I got pregnant with this one,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, okay, I am now having this second child, and I do not want to feel like this forever, because I am
Mm.
a mom. I need to take care of my kids, and I need to like be there for them. And mommy can't be there for the kids if
Mm.
they okay, she's
Oh,
gonna
bless her.
I can't be there for my kids if I keep focusing on my symptoms so much.
Mm.
And yeah, then with that pregnancy, I felt a lot better at first, symptoms wise, because that's when I started going to the doctors again every couple weeks. And I mean, they check you when you're pregnant, like,
Mm. Mm.
they always take your blood and everything. And I was like, okay, if everything is okay with my blood, and everything is okay with my what's it called? Blutdruck, with my blood pressure,
Yeah.
then I should be fine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
gave me a lot of reassurance. But then I had a lot of emotional stress. And that was when my body decided, okay, we don't want this pregnancy anymore. And had I almost gave birth to her when I was just like 27 weeks pregnant or something like that.
Wow.
Oh, I had to go to the hospital, and then I was bedbound for 3 months. Like the last 3 months of pregnancy, I wasn't allowed to like go out. I wasn't
Oh
allowed.
God.
Yeah, my doctor, she said, okay, you can go to the bathroom, but that's it. Please stay in bed and feet up and everything. And you can imagine how terrible that was. But for some reason, my dizziness was not triggered. After all, I like this second pregnancy was like the best thing happening for this dizziness problem. I mean, it was still kind of there. It was not gone at that time, but it was totally manageable, and I was fine when it came
Mm.
to that.
Amazing. And what did you think, what do you think you were doing? Because at this point, doctors didn't really have many answers for you. You had taken a little bit of medication every now and then when you needed it, right? And
Yeah.
then you obviously found the recovery support group. So were you doing anything on a daily basis from 2020 to 2022? Like what do you think helped you feel better?
Mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
mindset. I didn't do VRT or anything like that. I did sometimes, like when it got so bad that I was like, okay, I need relief right this second, right this second. And then
Yeah.
I tried like this, the VRT stuff. Or what I always did was I tried standing on one foot.
Hmm. Yeah.
I called it flamingo test.
Oh my goodness, I used to stand on one foot too. I actually find it really comfortable, and now my balance is so good because I always did this
Right?
during my training.
Yeah. My dad always was like, if you had real dizziness, you couldn't stand on one foot. You
Well, it is
couldn't.
real. Let's say it is real
Like if
dizziness.
it was
Structural.
yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes.
You wouldn't
100%.
be able to do that. And
Yeah.
that's why I did that as a reassurance. I would be in the grocery store and stand on one foot to like make sure I wasn't dizzy. It
Yeah.
was
Mm.
now talking about it. I mean, it's not funny now talking about it. It's like, wow, how could I let this happen for such a long time? But then
It's
again,
not your fault.
sometimes exactly,
It's
it's
not.
not your fault. I said before I read this book, Rock Steady, and it said that to make your brain feel a certain way, it takes just like a couple minutes or something, or a couple days. But to retrain your brain, it takes at least 3 months.
Yep.
So 90 days, I think 90 days, they were talking about 90 days. So I always had in my mind that if I didn't feel dizzy for 90 days, then maybe my brain is going to accept that nothing is wrong really, or that
Yeah.
it's nothing dangerous that is happening right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Okay.
always on my mind. And then the body check that was within the Rock Steady book.
You mean the body scan,
Yeah,
kind
the
of
body
that
scan,
meditation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like you had to try to focus on some other body part than your head. So when it got really, really bad, that's what I did.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So really it was like this mindset shift of saying, I'm going to live with this, not
yeah,
forever, but I know that I have to live a normal life despite the symptoms being there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then when it gets really bad, you remind your body that you are physically safe with the body scan. Did you
yeah.
do any other somatic practices like breath work or anything like that? Or not really?
I did go when my anxiety was at the highest level. That was 2019 in the beginning of the year. That was before I was pregnant, before the dizziness and everything. I did go to a workshop for what's it called? Like the one you just said, you
Breath
know,
work.
yeah, breath work and stuff like that. Um, and it was really expensive.
Mm,
But for me, as a hypochondriac, that's not working because we had to like lay still, close eyes, and be like, I am totally still. My heart is beating regularly, or something like that. And I'm like, is it? Is it really? My breath
yeah.
is and I was like, is my breath really going all right?
Mm,
Am I really
yeah.
still like focusing on my heart, focusing on my breath is not gonna make me, it's not working for me.
Yeah.
Just like with hypnosis and stuff, it's not working for me. This girl's not.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
For hypochondriac, I mean, I am still, I wouldn't say I'm a hypochondriac anymore, but definitely I still have moments of health anxiety, but it used to
I am
be
not as bad
really
as
bad.
it used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it used to be terrible for me. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly. And it still comes up and tries to kind of get
Yeah.
in there and ruin the moment a little. But I'm
Mhm.
better at responding differently now. But yeah, I think for those with intense health anxiety, just doing breath work alone or focusing on your body in some way doesn't help because it's just getting your brain to focus more on what you're afraid of, really.
Yeah.
So instead, I think that breathing is so helpful, but I think first of all, actually expressing this anxiety, like shaking your body or tapping or moving in some way, is better because it's A, allowing your body to move through that emotion differently. And it's
Yeah.
also, it's proving to yourself that you're okay. You can do these things, that you're not dying, that you're not having a heart attack, or you're breathing fine, everything is okay. And then after you express that emotion, then you can calm yourself back down with some breath work if you want to. but
Yeah.
sometimes breath work on its own is not really enough. Yeah, totally relate to that
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So you found the Rocksteady book and you feel like that was one of the things that was helping you. Was there anything else that you found that really made sense to you? Like, did you, because I know you saw the triple PD diagnosis from the support group. Is that right?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I found out. Oh, and then I found a girl on YouTube. There was this girl on YouTube. I think she was called Megan as well, or
yeah,
Morgan. Don't
Megan,
remember if it,
was it MJ Styles? She was from the UK as well.
yeah, 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 that girl.
There's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the dark curly hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the dark curly hair. Yeah,
This is Megan as well. Yeah.
she had this, like, I watched this video so often that I still have like exactly what she said in my ear. Yeah. Like
Mm,
she had this one sentence. It's something in the brain, it's not dangerous. And that stuck with me as well. Because what she was explaining was exactly what I was experiencing. I was like, okay.
yep.
And then I had this other woman on, like, I think she's a doctor as well, on Instagram. Wait, let me check. I still get her newsletter. Oh, and this girl, she was the Dizzy Cook. Do you know her? I don't know.
Dizzy Cook.
The
Yes.
but for her, I think she still has lots of issues with like the
Yeah.
dizziness. Um, but the other doctor, where is she?
Do you mean the Vertigo doctor? Is it Madison
Yes,
Oaks?
yes, medicine. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, those were like the profiles I would check, and they always had these reels, these really short reels with like symptoms listed, and that's where I went for reassurance, really. But that was not what helped me, to be honest. When I started unfollowing all of these, except for you, because you were like this, yeah, I don't know why you just stuck with me.
Hmm.
But I unfollowed every single person that was linked to the dizziness, and I
Yeah.
started focusing on different things again. Like, for example, I'm an absolute Disney girl. Like Disneyland Paris is like my happy place, and
Love that.
right now we cannot go because we can't afford it because we just bought a house and are renovating and stuff.
Fair
But
enough.
used to go to Disneyland Paris like once a month at least.
Wow,
So
really? That's amazing.
yeah, it was amazingly expensive.
Yeah, I
Um,
can imagine. Yes.
and like going to Disney would be like this. Most of the time I felt better when I was there, but I think like at one point I told my husband, I was like, okay, now it's gotten so bad. I even feel bad when I'm at Disney. Like, it was always this up and down kind of.
Yeah.
And I started this Instagram profile, and it grew and grew and grew, and I really felt good with that. But then the dizziness came back, and I stopped doing whatever I was doing because I fell back into this hole pretty much.
So when
Yeah,
did the
and then when
dizziness come back?
huh?
When did the dizziness come back and feel worse?
Whenever I had stress, pretty much.
Oh, I
Like when I
see.
was fighting with my husband, like not fighting, when we were like, having arguments,
Yeah.
when
Okay.
when there were stressful days because of his work, or when
Yeah.
I felt lonely, or I can't really say that there was one trigger. It was like a mixture of a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
maybe also because I was focusing so much on like this one thing that I thought would help me and would take everything away, that my brain was like, no,
And what
that's not the issue. you know
and what was the thing you were focusing on?
Myself again.
Yeah.
After I had my second, after I had Rosie, I had this really nice birth. It was a C-section, but it was really a powerful, beautiful experience. Like, this
Mm.
birth of her was perfect. The birth of my first daughter, I thought I was gonna die, and the
Yeah.
second one, I felt so empowered. I don't know,
Mm.
I felt so good afterward. And the first couple of weeks when I was healing and getting like used to having two kids now, that was amazing. I didn't feel any dizziness, nothing. I was like, I remember telling my husband that Rosie healed me. I was like,
Oh,
like this child just, she's a miracle for me because she took that away. And
that's
then
so beautiful.
in September, like she was born at the end of June, so she's gonna be 2 next week. And in
That
September
was 2023.
yeah, and in September 2023, my grandpa passed away
Mm.
under really terrible circumstances. Like he had like the worst death you can imagine. That
Oh
was
my
months
goodness.
and months, you know. He was like at the end he couldn't eat anymore, he couldn't speak, nothing, and it was really, really bad. And when he died, like, oh my God, I remember like, you know, I had this new baby and everything felt so much better, and then this happened.
Mm.
And my grandma, I like they were together for over 60 years.
Wow.
And yeah, like I would call her to like speak to her, and she would cry the entire time and tell me she wanted to die, she wanted to be with him, and everything. It was really, really bad. And then I went to the funeral, even though I said, I don't think I can do this. I remember talking to my dad, and it was his father. I was like, Dad, I don't know if I can join you guys because I'm scared my dizziness will come back if I
Mm.
am faced with this, you know, with like this
Mm.
funeral aspect and everything. And guess what happened
What
shortly
happened?
afterward? Yeah, it got back. Like the dizziness came back and was so much worse than ever before. It was so bad that I started to think, okay, this time it's real. This time I'm really going to die. This time I'm really having, I don't know, you know, that's what was going
Mm.
on.
Mm.
And for the most of 2024, that was happening, you know. So 2024, I had this really, really big relapse, is it called? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very, very bad. And I remember telling my husband it was never as bad as it is right now. And I don't think I can live with this much longer. And I started taking Valium again. Not only Valium, I took like everything like over the counter, but I took everything to like not really feel a lot of things, you know.
Yeah.
And I would drink these teas all day that were like full of lavender and whatever to like
Yeah.
feel less anxious.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was most of 2024 pretty much. And then it got better again. And then it got worse again. And then there was this point last year, like my sister, she lives in Holland, like she lives
Yeah.
right by the ocean. So we visited her last, I do have to
Mm.
say, last year my marriage was very like I was about to end it, like it was really bad. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna go to Holland. We're gonna go there. Maybe it's gonna work again, and we
Mm.
can, I don't know, make up. And so that probably was part of it, you know, because that was really, really big stress factor, you know. And then the dizziness and all these symptoms, they skyrocketed again. And yeah, then when we went to Holland in October, it was just a couple days before Halloween. And Halloween is usually like it's my favorite part of the year. I love like all the decoration and everything. And I couldn't really feel it because of the dizziness and everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being at this indoor playground. I said, okay, that's it. I was like, that's it right now. That's it. I do not want to feel this way anymore. I am so done. I am so done throwing away years of my life, months of my life, moments of my life with my children, with my family, with everything. I am so done with this shit. Like, so, excuse my language, but I'm
Fine.
so done with this. I cannot do this anymore, and I do not want my life to look like this anymore. Not one more day.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like I started writing my first book last year as well, and I started reading a lot, like romantasy and fantasy books and romance books and stuff like that, and spicy books. And
Yeah.
that helped me also tremendously. And writing felt so right. Like
Mm.
that's when I felt better as well, like when I was reading or when I was writing. And yeah, like I said, when I sit in this playground, in this indoor playground, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm 100% done with this. I do not want this anymore. And I think it was actually October 31st. And on the 1st of November, it stopped.
Wow.
Yeah, stopped.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. I
And
don't
it
know
didn't
why.
come back?
No, no.
Hmm.
So I've been dizzy free since November 2024.
So,
Well, I mean, there are some days when you're really tired, or when it's really hot out and you don't really drink a lot, and then you sometimes people feel dizzy. That's like a normal
yeah,
sensation, you know?
yes. I have a
Yeah,
question for you. So, the fact that you're with your grandfather and then your
yeah,
marriage, it makes a lot of sense why the symptoms came up a little or a lot.
yeah,
Um, Sometimes the symptoms can come up when we are dealing with a lot of emotional stress as a way of kind of getting us out of that. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to focus over here. I'm going to give you symptoms so you don't have to deal with that. Do you find that dealing with those emotions in any way helped you in your journey?
I feel like what you just said makes so much sense, because
Yeah.
that's exactly it. Like your brain wants to help you focusing on something other than the grief or the sadness. So
Mm.
then it sends you more symptoms, pretty much.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, definitely that's definitely how I felt as well. Yeah, because when I look at it this way, like I said, I've like the dizziness had stopped in November. Um and my most beloved grandmother passed away in January, like this year.
His wife, you mean?
Oh, no, no, the other one, like
Other one.
my mom's mom. And
Okay.
that grandma has been there for me all the time. Like when I was dealing with anxiety and with the dizziness, I would call her. I would be
Mm.
like, I feel so bad today. It's so, so bad. And she would like keep me in her prayers, and she would like comfort me. And because she had those feelings sometimes as well. She was this person who was always there, and she always had an open ear, open mind. And then she passed away in January, like completely unexpected. We were there 2 weeks earlier celebrating Christmas, and like she was so cute with the kids, and everything was perfect. Like she was totally healthy and everything. And then 2 weeks later, she was just gone. Like, yeah, to the other, she was just gone. And that was so hard. Like I felt like my entire world was like torn apart with her not being there anymore, because she was always there. She was 80 years at that time, like when she died.
Mm.
And she was just everything about her was me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was very, very horrible. And then again, the funeral aspect, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. My dad was like, you can do this. You can do this.
Mm.
Come on. I'll go with you. My parents are divorced, but my dad loved his mother-in-law
Oh.
so much, and she loved him like crazy.
Oh.
Of course he went, and like everybody else is still my mom and my dad, they're still really good friends. And so we went to the funeral together. I did take my glasses off because I didn't want to look at the casket. And like my dad had me in his arms, and I was like focusing on all this, and I tried to like think of all the amazing times and beautiful memories and childhood memories I had with her. And for some reason, like I felt all this grief and all this sadness and all this anxiety and whatever, but not more symptoms than before. Like
Mhm.
I was sad, I was crying all the time, but I don't know, maybe it was different than with my grandpa, because with my grandpa, I focused so much on the other things. And this time I just let,
You
let
just
it be.
felt it.
Yeah.
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 I was
Yeah.
gonna say that. You said at your grandpa's funeral that you were worried about the dizziness getting worse if you
Yeah.
went and
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
felt this emotion. And that might be why one of the reasons why they did come up
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
The expectation, also the fact that you don't want to, it's like you have this idea that grief and sadness
Yeah.
is somehow dangerous and it's going to trigger you again. But with
Yeah.
your grandma, it seems like you were kind of just letting go and letting all of this emotion come
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
allowing it to be there because your nervous system can totally handle that. It's built to handle grief, it's built to handle anger and stress, and it's not the
Yeah.
cause of symptoms.
I did have a panic attack prior to the funeral. Like
Hmm.
couple minutes before my dad and I went to drive here, I had a really bad panic attack, and then I took a Valium, but it just a half a tablet, I think. And the I don't know why, but I hadn't taken Valium in like over a year or 1.5 years. And I think my mind was just maybe a little bit um out of it. And then I took this tablet and I felt like blur somehow. I don't know. I can't really, and then the panic attack hit and then I started crying and crying and crying and crying. It was really, really bad. I was like, Daddy, I can't go. We can't go. We can't do this. And then I did go. And I cried so much. And also when we were standing like in front of the grave and put like flowers on the casket and stuff like that, like, I was totally in this emotion, like stuck in this emotion. And then after the funeral, I stopped crying and I haven't cried really since about, my grandma's death. It
Hmm.
felt like I just accepted this because also like the pastor he said so many nice and beautiful things about her. And then after we were all sitting together, the entire family came together, and my mom and my aunt, they hadn't spoken in like over 10 years, and there was so much fight. And that was like for my grandma, that was like the worst part. When my grandma turned 80, my mom and her sister, they made up again. And that was like, that was a beautiful thing for her and for all of us. And seeing how after the funeral we were all like standing there together, gathered together, and like together in grief, but also together in as a family. I don't know, something inside me healed in that moment, I think.
Mm.
And not only like regarding all this anxiety, but also regarding like the dizziness, because that was a big part of the anxiety. And I think that's really when I was like, okay, there's so much here on this earth. There's so much here like for me, for my family, and I need to focus on the things that are happening now and on the things that are good and the things that are feeling positive, and not so much on the negative feelings, because I mean they're there. We cannot, like, we have to live with them, and I don't know, maybe that was a part of the journey that really helped me with
Yeah.
focusing on that anymore. And now when I get hit with those waves, I kind of just like let them pass,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I'm not obsessing over them like I used to do, because I really, really obsessed over them, like I said before.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I'm living in the house that my grandma lived in.
Oh, wow.
We are renovating everything, and now we're living next door to my aunt, and my mom is like 30 minutes away, and I am back home.
I
And
love that for you.
yeah, I can go outside and I know the people. I have my own car now. I have, like, my husband has his car. I have my own car. I started doing things by myself. I go see my friend. I take my kids and do something completely alone with them. Then I I went with my mom together. We went to this TV production last week, and we stayed there for the night. And I do things by myself. I go to the cinema again. I can watch movies without feeling weird.
Mhm.
Like, I've been to the movies a couple of times now, and like since I recovered, and that all works. I can lay on my bed. I can sit here and not go like this.
Yes.
I'm Yeah, I can go outside and everything again. I can do things by myself. And in all those years where I lived with the dizziness, I thought I could never do things by myself again. Like, all by myself. Like I'm going to the nail salon and get my nails done. And 1.5 years ago when I did that, I would sit there and be like, it was like
Yeah.
stopping at a red light. That's how
Yeah.
I felt.
It seems like you're basically living a totally normal life now.
That's what I yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think if you, because
I
obviously
mean,
you did,
what's normal? Normal is,
yeah,
I do have lots of issues. I do have lots of stress right now and lots of emotional stress as well, in the past couple weeks, but I feel like I can just navigate through it
yeah,
because I can do this. And
yes, you can.
what was a really, really important thing for learning for me is that I can do things by myself. On every single person, I was dependent and I couldn't do things by myself anymore. And then, the babies when they were like really, and then now I feel like I can do this. Like even with my kids, I can just manage that. I'm strong and I can do all these things by myself. I am just that strong, independent person that I
Yeah,
always wanted to be and that I used to be. And now I feel like I can be her again, you know?
that's
And
beautiful.
and that's like what's happening right now. I was trapped inside my mind and my body for such a long time, and now I'm like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna do the things that feel like I need to do them or that I want to do, regardless of what other people would think. I'm gonna live in this house is entirely pink and I don't give a shit, you know?
I love it. I love
And
it so much.
like I'm gonna do everything that makes me happy now because feelings of happiness were not really present in the past couple of years, you know? And I'm
Mm,
like, even with my partner and everything, I'm like, I don't know what's gonna be in a couple of years. I just know that I want to be working on this relationship with myself. I want to keep working on that, not on everything else. I don't want to be the person anymore who's like focusing on this, on this, on this, and on herself or on the negative aspects of herself, I want to say. But I want to focus more on my well being and on my personal growth. Because, when you become a mom, your career and everything is like far,
mm.
far away. You're just a mom. I mean, not just a mom. But that's how people see you. People see you as just a mom. And I think that was also part of the problem. I didn't have
Mm,
anything to like put my head on. Like I need to be occupied.
mm.
My intelligence as well. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? If
Yeah.
you if you're not in a place where you feel like you belong, where you feel like you have to say something other than the place where you live and your family, you will freak out one day, I feel like, that's how it was for me, especially. So now I have a job again. I go to work. I know I am somebody, and I have my friends and I have my problems as well as everybody else does. But yeah, I feel like finding myself in this entire journey helped so much with the symptoms and with the entire dizziness aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wow, what an incredible story and journey that you've been on. It's amazing. And you are so incredibly brave. I'm so inspired by your story. And I think a lot of people will be inspired as well. Thank you so much for
Hope
sharing
so.
this.
Yeah, I hope I can make somebody like
Yeah. Yeah.
feel better about themselves and about the journey they're in, because I I loved hearing these journeys because they somehow made me hopeful in the entire thing. I'm and to be honest, I am 100% positive that if you're dealing with like triple PD, you can get out of this, but this is all so much mindset. You won't wake up, because I was always like, I want to wake up and feel okay again. I want to wake up and be myself again. This is not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, really. It's a journey, and there's gonna be relapses, and there's gonna be, ups and
Hmm.
downs all the time. But you have to like look at the bigger picture, and you have
Yes.
to start doing something for yourself and like find things that keep you focused on something else. For me, that was reading, that was books. Really, that was what helped me the most. Reading and writing, living in different worlds, like fantasy books. Go read smut or like spicy books, because that is gonna help you. Seriously, I
I love
swear to
that.
God, that's gonna help you.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah, well,
No,
yeah.
seriously, for me, that helped me because it kept my brain focused on something else.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will say, well, isn't that just denying your reality? Isn't that just pretending that you're
Of
fine?
course,
Well,
kind of,
yeah, yeah.
but that's
I
what we want to do, right?
exactly. I want to deny this reality. This is not
Yeah,
the reality I want to live in. And it's
exactly.
very different. Denying your reality is very, very, very different to denying your feelings. It's not denying your feelings. You are dealing with your feelings. You are allowing yourself to feel whatever it is that you feel, but you're saying as well, yeah, this is not the reality I want to live in. I choose to create a new reality for myself. And it seems like you were basically, you did some body scans every now and then when it got really bad. You did take the odd medication when you felt like you had to, but mostly you made a declaration to yourself to say, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. This is not who I want to be. And I'm going to go and live my life despite the symptoms being there and trusting, reassuring yourself with other people's stories, knowing that you are on the right track and that you're not dying, that nothing serious is happening with you, and just maintaining that level of trust through all of the ups and downs. And then eventually, when you just said, nope, I am so done with this. And then the next day it was like, bye
Yeah,
then, we're
yeah,
good. Yeah, you couldn't have done that in the beginning. You couldn't have just made that statement and then it just went away. You had to do the work first.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I think you are absolutely incredible. I think you've done an amazing job at summing up your whole story. I know that we could have probably spoken for like 5 hours about this. Um, but if you had any last piece of advice for someone watching this who was in your position, what would be the most important thing you would want them to know?
Keep going. Like,
Mm,
this is not gonna be your reality forever. This is not gonna be your status quo. It's not. There will be better days. There will be bad days, but once you navigate yourself through these bad days, the good days will shine even brighter, you know?
I love that.
And that's just how it was for me. And focus on yourself, but like not on your body processes, but like on yourself. What do you
Yes.
want? Who do you want to be? And who do you want to be? That's like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think I think that's like the
Yeah.
best advice I can give. And like,
Yeah.
keep yourself distracted. Keep yourself
Yeah.
distracted. That's another thing that
Mm,
worked for me. Stop going to the doctors all the time. Stop doing all these. If you have medical reassurance, then stop. Just stop. Yeah.
yeah. So when you had a bad day, was there anything in particular that you did to help yourself, or was it just this mindset of it's gonna get better and just allowing it to be there?
So in the beginning, I did these things, and then I did other things, and then I did other things again. But what helped me always is Disney, Disney movies,
Disney.
Disney
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
podcasts
hmm
about things that I liked. And
Yeah.
like I said, reading.
Yeah. So it was really just a matter of engaging your brain in something that felt good.
Yeah, going out, going to the zoo with my kids, or keeping myself occupied with, or Kreuzworträtsel, crossword, what's it?
Crossword. Yeah.
Crosswords, yeah, Sudoku.
Yep. That was
That's
my
what I
thing as
did.
well. That
Yeah,
was literally exactly what
I
I
did
did.
that. Coloring.
hmm
I did coloring a lot. Like
Yeah, these are all very
painting,
soothing. Yeah.
all these things, that like make you focused on something else, or
Yep.
even like Disney Dreamlight Valley. Yeah, yeah, that Disney Dreamlight Valley, that helped so much. Seriously, last year I was obsessed with Disney Dreamlight Valley, and that helped me so much because I was so focused on this game
hmm
Can't
Yeah.
even tell you. And then like watching streams, watching like Twitch and stuff like that. Like that really, really helped me. Everything that kept me distracted was like positive distraction.
Yes.
And there is
Yes.
nothing more positive in this world than Disney.
That's so
Seriously.
true. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Um,
You're
okay,
welcome.
well, Rachel, honestly, hello, baby. She's so sweet.
Oh,
Honestly, Rachel, you are incredible. Thank you so much for being so open and honest and sharing your story with everybody. Thank you.
you're very welcome. I always wanted to be that person. I always dreamt to be that person talking to someone about this. That's why I messaged you
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like I always wanted to be that person saying, I did it. I
You freaking
got
did it.
freaking did it.
Absolutely, you did. Oh, it's amazing. And honestly, it's like the mindset was the biggest piece of the puzzle for you, and it just kept you going. And it's like you made that intention and you stuck with it and you trusted that it wasn't gonna be your reality. That is literally the most important takeaway from this video, I think. Everyone
Yeah,
should remind themselves of this, that your subconscious mind, your mindset is just the biggest powerful tool that you have at your disposal.
it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a calendar quote, but like
Yeah,
it's it's just true.
it is true. Yeah.
Getting ready. That's what helped me too. Getting ready, putting makeup on, putting a cute outfit on,
Yes.
looking good, smelling
Yes.
nice, looking good, have my hair done, like looking in the mirror and being happy with who I was because like
Yep.
I was so
Yep.
depressed that even brushing teeth was like so hard. Like I did it, but like
Me
I
too. Yeah.
was it was so hard to do like the easiest things and I was always this, like this makeup,
Yeah.
hair and everything. And the dizziness took that all from me, looking nice and like being this I don't know, this person that's like that looks
Mhm.
like she's got I don't know, her life together in a way. That's at least
Yeah.
what I wanted yeah. But like getting ready in the morning and like having my schedule, like getting
Yes.
up and then eating something, getting ready,
Yes.
making my hair and stuff like that. The entire day is like
Yeah.
because
Thank you
if
for
you
saying
wake
that.
up and you don't want, if you wake up and your day-to-day life is like the same and you lay in bed and you don't really have to be there or there or there, then the roof is gonna come down.
Oh my God, yeah. So true. Thank you so much for saying that. That's actually something I get my clients to do, actually, when they are have some kind of routine that you can stick to.
Yeah,
Even if
routine,
it's on
routine, exactly.
yeah, even if it's on a small scale, like getting up and making your breakfast, making tea, getting
Yeah,
dressed in the morning
yeah,
and making your bed in the morning are so
yeah,
powerful. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
it really is. And I did the same thing. I would actually tell people, you know what? You don't have to actually go anywhere, but just
Exactly. Yeah,
get dressed and maybe put some makeup on or do your hair if you want to. Um, and then just don't go anywhere. But
yeah,
it's like if they're afraid of going out and doing certain things, I get them to dress up as if they were going to go out, but then they just stay home. It's training the brain, it's kind of tricking the brain a little bit
yeah,
to expect to go out, but without any fear or pressure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do that
So,
every single day. And if
yes.
I don't feel that good. It's just
Yeah.
that's how it is, you know.
Totally. Yeah. I didn't shower
Like,
for like a week
great.
when I was going through
Yeah,
the worst
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
I felt disgusting and horrible. And of course, it's really hard to do those things, but you have to find the willpower to
Yeah,
get up and do that because
yeah,
again, you don't want to get stuck in the identity of sickness, you
yeah.
know, and we need to find a way to get that identity. Oh, what a beautiful family. Oh my goodness. We need to find a way of getting out of that identity. And I think the best way to do that is to get up, put your makeup on, or do your hair if you want to, and then make your bed, have some kind of routine in place that can remind you of what your life is meant to look like, what you want it to look like. Yeah,
Create the life you want to live, pretty much.
absolutely. So I'm going to leave your Instagram below for anyone who maybe wants to ask you
Yeah,
any questions. Is that
yeah,
okay?
they can do that on the Rachel underscore
Yeah.
maybe account. They can totally do that. That's
So those who maybe want to have a little chat with you can do so. And obviously, if anyone has any questions for Rachel or for me, just leave them in the comments and I'm
yeah,
sure we'll both answer them. Okay?
of course, definitely.
All right. So on this note, we're gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna stop recording,
All
and then
right.
you and I will have a little chat afterwards, okay? All
Okay.
right. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope Rachel's story was inspiring for you, and I really hope that her story encouraged you to know that you are no different. Your brain is no different than hers, than mine. All of you can recover from chronic dizziness. I have no doubts. And if you would like to share your recovery story with me, or if you know anybody who has recovered who would like to share, please let me know. I would be honored to share their story. Like I said before, if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments and I will reply as soon as possible. Thank you for being here once again, and I'll see you next time.